Scary Teacher. This story is about a 19-year-old, Ivan. Ivan had just enrolled in a college and he was very excited. But he was completely unaware of what trouble he was about to get into. It was his first day at college, and he was going back to his hostel room after attending all his lectures. That's when he saw a woman standing in the corridor. She was staring at him from afar. He thought the woman to be some strict teacher, so he ignored her and went inside his room. Since that day, he frequently saw that woman in the corridor outside his room, and strangely, it was always when there was no one else around in the corridor. Ivan tried to greet the teacher on multiple occasions, but the teacher never reacted to him and just kept on staring. There were two libraries in the college, one that was recently made and the other one that was very old. The old one had been shut for the last 1 year. But one day, when Ivan was passing from there, he saw that same teacher entering the old library. He wanted to know who that teacher was, so he thought he'd follow her inside the library. The library was in pathetic condition, and there was a weird smell in there. There was no one else in the library apart from Ivan and that teacher. Ivan found the teacher in the last section of the library. The teacher was writing something on the wall. Ivan quietly stood at a distance and kept on looking towards her. But suddenly, the teacher stopped and turned back to look at Ivan with a deadly gaze. Her eyes had turned bloody red. Ivan experienced a strange sense of fear creeping in, so he immediately left the library. When he looked back at the library door after coming out of it, he noticed that it was locked. He was in utter disbelief and thought of returning back to his hostel. When the hostel warden saw an anxious Ivan, he asked him what had happened. When Ivan narrated the entire incident to him, the warden was left shocked. It seemed he went numb after listening to Ivan. Seeing the warden's changed expressions, Ivan felt even more scared. Ivan asked him what was the matter and who was that teacher exactly. The warden didn't tell Ivan anything, but he did warn him to never go around that library ever again. Scared, Ivan nodded and went to his room. At night, Ivan was sitting with his roommate, Ron, and talking when Ivan noticed someone's shadow under the door of his room. When he opened the door, there was no one there. Ron asked him why he was so tense, and Ivan told him all about the strange-looking teacher. This left Ron astonished, and he told him that he had also sighted that teacher on multiple occasions, sometimes in the corridor outside their room, and sometimes near the water cooler. The two of them were talking when a shadow again showed up under their room's door. This time, the two of them came out and went out looking for the shadow in the corridor, but going a little further, they ended up at the same old library. Despite the warden's warning, Ivan went inside the library along with Ron. The library still had that strong, pungent smell, as if something had been rotting there for weeks. Amidst the eerie silence of the library, they could hear someone's loud murmur. When Ron and Ivan went in the direction of that voice, they saw that the teacher was sitting in a corner of the last section of the library and scratching herself. The two boys got really scared. As the two were about to exit, the library door shut on its own. When Ivan and Ron turned, they felt the ground slipping under their feet. The teacher's face had turned horrifying. She was floating in the air and slowly and steadily approached the two boys. Her murmur grew louder. She screamed and stretched out her hands to grab the throats of Ivan and Ron, but just then their warden opened the door and walked into the library. The teacher disappeared the moment the warden got in. Seeing the worsening condition of Ivan and Ron, the warden immediately took them to the college's medical room. The next day, when the two of them felt better, the warden told them that about a year ago, a teacher had killed 2 students and then killed herself as well in that library. She had become mentally disturbed because of her personal life, and she had gone so crazy that she choked the 2 boys to death. Coincidentally, those 2 students used to live in the same room as Ivan and Ron. That same day, Ivan and Ron's room was changed, and soon after, the old library was demolished for good. After this incident, that teacher was never spotted in the college again. Both Ivan and Ron narrowly escaped that night, but even today, when the thought of that scary teacher comes to their minds, it sends shivers down their spine. Did you like our scary teacher story? Then subscribe to our channel, Bloody Monday, right away.